with Mr. B. You want it, you got it. We're live from Epping, New Hampshire, home of three of New Hampshire's governors, of which I can only name one. It is 7 o'clock here on the eastern seaboard here in Epping, New Hampshire. It is midnight over in London, 2 o'clock in the morning in Tel Aviv, and in Tokyo, 8 o'clock in the morning. They're already got their raincoats on and whatever else, and they're hustling and bustling and getting out for the next business day. All right, all having been said, we've got quite a program for you this evening, and I'm going to throw the number out for you right out now, 508-974-4231. I want to hear the phone ringing, ladies and gentlemen. We got to have some audience participation here. We've got a number of things to be discussing, which not the least of which is the question that we're posing this evening that we want to discuss and find out what your thoughts might be on it as well. The Hamas hostages that were taken on October the 7th, is there a chance that any of them are actually still alive? The question is being there. We're going to get to that in a couple of minutes, but before that, I want to run over some things. We got some housekeeping things to be taken care of. First and foremost, we got some tidbits about the news that's been going on that's of interest to the people, not only locally, but nationally and internationally. We got our flag to come up, so Mr. Blazeman, if you got the flag, would you raise it up and we'll get this show on the road? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And when I say all, I mean everybody here, not just certain people from certain walks of life or skin colors or faiths or this or that or whatever else. All the people, provided you're here legally. If you're not, please, there are so many people who have done things, my members of my family as well, that have come here properly. Go out, do what's the proper things, the proper steps to take necessary, and come into the United States and seek your American dream. That having been said, former President Donald Trump is facing yet another little stick in the road or whatever else as it is, by virtue of the fact that he is now a quote-unquote convicted felon. He faces the revocation of his gun license, issued in the state of New York. Now, New York historically has some of the most stringent and forbidding, so to speak, gun licensing regulations, but it is a federal mandate, of course, that anybody who is a convicted felon cannot possess guns. So apparently, unless something happens where his convictions are all overturned and so forth, and the slate's all wiped clean, Donald Trump is going to lose his ability to possess and own and keep firearms and use them in order to defend himself, go hunting, target shooting, whatever else. That portion of his life is now over, unfortunately. Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated 65 years ago today, and we're going to be talking more about this later on. But one of the things that comes up and is something that is kind of sticking in my craw is that the Biden administration is denying Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a candidate for the presidency on apparently the independent ticket. He's running for the presidency, and he has, as far as I know, met all of the requirements as far as fundraising things and so forth. They have to raise a certain amount of money and so forth. All of these things, the regulations and so forth that are there, that have been put forth for people to seek Secret Service protections while you are a candidate for the President of the United States, have been met. However, repeatedly, for some reason unknown to me, and certainly not understood to great many people, he is being denied his request for Secret Service protection. And considering also what had happened, the family history, John F. Kennedy, assassinated. His father, Robert Kennedy, assassinated. while running for president, if anyone certainly does deserve Secret Service protection while running for president, I would say that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does. Stay tuned with that one, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your ears to the ground over that. God only knows what's going to happen over the next, or how long it's going to take before they get this straightened out. All right, and hello, of course, Winnie Whitney. Thank you very much. A gunman attacks the U.S. embassy down in Beirut, Lebanon. One single gunman who apparently had on a flak jacket or a gun vest with him, an ammunition vest, and it said ISIS on his gun vest. Apparently, the Lebanese People's security forces saw fit not only to take him down, but apparently arrested 5 of the persons, members of his family, and are further investigating what is going on. Now, the United States State Department or the intelligence community has been warning. They have been warning about the possibility of terrorist attacks or imminent threat of terrorist attacks going on, especially down over in Beirut, Lebanon, and of course elsewhere as well. And these things are starting to rear their ugly heads. Was this a precursor to something else? Was this a lone wolf, a person who was acting on his own and saying that they were going to do Islamist, terrorist, jihadist, blah, blah, flubby, flabba? I don't know. That all remains to be seen. That information will probably be released sometime after they do their interrogating and whatever else that they have in their investigations. And I'm certain, especially the Beirut forces, they're going to be very thorough. They're going to be very, very thorough. In the meantime, also a terrorist somehow or another was building or constructing, may have been constructing, or accidentally set off an explosive device at a hotel a short distance away from the airport in France. Now, again, the State Department has been warning of. The State Department has been warning of the facts of terrorist attacks, not only over in Lebanon, but around and also in France and so forth. And here in the United States, things are starting to heat up. This should be bringing us to a heightened state of security and awareness. And after my show, stay tuned, because the I-12 GIA group, I'm sure, will be happy to help you folks sort through some things, and figure out what's reasonable, what, if any, information they may have as to what the possible areas might be struck by terrorists here on American soil. In the meantime, I've got a little something over here that we have a photograph up here. I identify as an overtaxed, underrepresented, non-woke, pissed off American citizen. And I've posted this here. Thank you very much, Mr. Blazeman, for putting this up. As a promise to one of my viewers that sent this to me, I want to thank you very, very much for that. I certainly do. And of course, across on that blaze that's across the American flag that symbolizes the United States, it says "We the People," and that's it. If anything's going to happen in this country, it's going to be done by we the people. If we're going to protect ourselves, it is going to be protections that come forth from we the people. We must not rest the matter of our own personal safety on the government, because it's just not there. It's not going to happen. And there are a lot of people, their shall we say, their trust in the fact that the United States government can protect them is waning. So now more than ever, is the time for every reasonable person who by law is capable of doing it to take up their arms and prepare. I'm not saying go out and start shooting people all over the place, whatever else. take up your arms and prepare, ladies and gentlemen, because something's coming down the road. And little two Boy Scouts with a water pistol that we've got these days that are out to protect the American citizenry ain't making it. So now is the time, as they say, for all good men to come to the aid of their country. I got a couple of shout-outs over here. I got a shout-out to Mark Stosha all the way up in the West Isle side of Canada. Congratulations, Mr. Stosha, for your recent graduation from university up there. God bless you. I certainly hope you enjoy many, many wonderful years of success and prosperity in whatever it is you seek to do. Tracy Stoddard all the way down in Georgia. Young lady has a birthday today. Tracy, known you for many, many years, and I want to wish you from my heart to yours. Pepper and Patty, happy birthday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, getting up to things going on over here. Hamas hostages. We have seen ever since October the 7th, the film or the video footage and so forth. We had talk and shit and chat and this and that from talking heads and so forth. And every once in a while, when something happens, as things progress with Israel's war against Hamas, we had instances where people who were being held as hostage had come out, and now in the last number of times when they have found or recovered hostages, they were recovered their bodies. They were not alive. My question out here to you folks is, do you believe that there are actually any of the hostages that were taken on October 7th, any of them are still alive? After all that has happened going through Gaza, after all the pounding, and we've seen the video footage and so forth of all the leveled buildings and whatnot, and all the stuff that's happened over in that section of the world, the terrible things that have been happening, and the fact that every time the Israeli Defense Force turns around when they go to recover or find or try to rescue more of the hostages, they are found in a condition where they know that they had been dead for a long period of time. 508-974-4231. Give us a call. I want to hear what you have to say about this. Mr. Blazeman, we have some video here. I'd like to send out and see if we can get the ball rolling here. I want to have the people seeing what they're looking at, and then do some real good thinking. Are these people still alive, or are they all dead? And should they be written off? Do we have that video to start? Go ahead. I certainly hope. Here we go.
The big development today has been the release of uncensored footage from the body cams of Hamas terrorists that were recorded during the October 7th massacre. Israel had hesitated to release this footage thus far, but now, seeing the narrative around the world and the pressure building on Israel, the government decided it needs to put out that information to remind the world about the barbarities that have been perpetrated by Hamas terrorists on the Israeli people on October the 7th. International journalists here in Israel were invited to a big screening where they saw, without their phones, without any recording equipment, what those body cams of those terrorists actually saw. Take a look at this report.
The cameras.
As we work.
I've been contacted by the engineer here, and he's asking if we should be issuing a warning. I would have to say that, folks, this is a matter of self-policing at this point. You know what we're discussing. If there are any people who are very sensitive here, don't watch this. But we're not going to be showing people that are being stuck with hot iron pokers and so.
Ladies and gentlemen, viewer discretion.
Okay, viewer discretion advised. Thank you very much.
To defeat the terror organization that brutalized our people, we are witnessing a Holocaust denial-like phenomenon evolving in real time.
Hamas terrorists went on a killing frenzy as the October 7th siege unfolded. This video shows Hamas seek out and the kibbutz in southern Israel bears testament to the true horrors of Hamas.
This is what
Do you want to successfully pass?
This was probably a preschool for kids. The doodles and paintings on walls now covered by bullet marks.
So this isn't a replica, this is an actual rocket that has been recovered after a particular attack. Obviously we're told that we can't touch any of the rockets that land here in Sderot because there are booby traps. Many of them are misfired rockets, so they may not have exploded. But this is actually what it looks like. It's a pretty heavy thing. Many such debris are already there and are part of investigation. But this kind of know-how, you can see the tail fins, you can see the booster module. The very thick metallic fabrication shows that the Hamas has been able to garner this kind of know-how sitting inside Gaza. They do get rocket technology from Iran as well, but the know-how to convert everyday metal tubes from pipes, etc., into usable rockets that have wrought so much devastation is a matter of great concern, especially since Hamas is able to make these kinds of rockets sitting inside Gaza using sending Al-Qassam rockets still into Israel.
The big focus continues to remain the 200 hostages that are still inside the Gaza Strip in the captivity of the Hamas. So they're all, perhaps in some of the buildings that you can see in these pictures. We don't know. Are they in the north? Are they in the south? There is no idea. The fact that 2 hostages were released has actually piled on the tension and suspense over what's going to really happen, because the big question continues to be, if this is phase 1, what is phase 2 and phase 3 going to look like? Are negotiations really happening where the non-military hostages from Gaza will all be released very quickly? We don't know just yet, but in the interim at least, while that attains a semblance of clarity, Israel is not backing off, not even an inch, not even for a minute. We're reporting now from Kibbutz Be'eri, which is one of the closest agricultural communes to the Gaza Strip. This is a kibbutz where the destruction is not only apparent, but the void that's been left behind is particularly devastating. Over 100 people were massacred by the Hamas right here at this particular kibbutz. The destruction is very, very plain to see. But worse than that, over 100 hostages were taken from just this one kibbutz, which means that over 100 of 200 plus hostages that are currently in Gaza in the captivity of the Hamas terrorist group are from this kibbutz alone. The destruction is not just in terms of the little pieces of houses that you can see here, but the damage has been devastating pretty much throughout the kibbutz. Lots of farms and fields have been destroyed as a result of rocket fire. As you can see, a huge amount of structural damage to all of the structures here at this particular kibbutz. And as we continue to report here, the Israel army has completely come in and taken over. They've got tanks stationed outside. They've got a lot of personnel deployed here who are obviously going to be here. None of the people who survived obviously are still at this kibbutz, but hopefully they will make their way back at some point of time. But it's just destruction as far as the eye can see in Kibbutz Be'eri. Israel actually took another step which is also very interesting and serves as a kind of precursor to what's going to happen today. They invited international journalists to the world-renowned forensic laboratory here in Israel to inspect for themselves the post-mortem reports and some of the remains. There were small bags of body parts. Some of them actually got a chance to see slides, of those parts removed. So they actually got to see what happened to hundreds of these Israelis who were butchered on October the 7th. So it creates a mood, it creates a narrative, it puts the facts on the ground. Israel has so far held back on releasing too much information about what happened on October the 7th. but now it believes that the international pressure has gotten a little too much. Even President Biden has been repeatedly cautioning about what's happening in Gaza. He's released, aid into Palestine. He's talked about a two-state solution. So Israel believes, even though it has its allies, international support for more violence is running a little thin, and that's why it needs to create a case. And by putting out these shocking, unbridled, uncensored pictures, it believes the world will once again be reminded of what happened on October the 7th, and therefore a mood could be created to support what's coming next.
India's #1 political reporter
defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. They brought reporters in to if you will, a forensic nightmare, where people were trying to identify persons by their body parts. Not people whole or whatever. Their body parts. What kind of a sick, twisted, demented person reduces human being into blown apart body parts? And knowing now what these people have lived through, what you're hearing here, seeing for yourself the video images of an entire kibbutz, which is it's like a small community, is what a kibbutz is for people who don't know what it is. It's like a commune. It's a community of a number of people, and they're all usually farmers. They're very peaceable people. Did you see the rubble? Did you see the kindergarten sort of area that they had there for a playground for children? Devoid of children, riddled with bullets, buildings burned out, collapsed, bombed up. And again, now we have the history, we have the established history that originally some of the hostages that they were holding were released alive. And then now, for at least the last month, every time the Israeli Defense Forces try to liberate someone, all they find are bodies in a state of decay. All they find are bodies. Think about this. We have Charles Arch. Well, thank you very much, Charles, for your comment. I believe that most of them are dead. Now, I've known Charles for quite a while. I know that he's a person who works in the intelligence community. He's well experienced, and he knows more than I do. He knows more than I do. And if he says he believes that they're dead, they probably are. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to take it up, and we're going to take a break here. In a couple of minutes, we're going to come back after we have our break, and we're going to be discussing things having to do with the Kennedy assassination, not John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and what's been going on with that. We have some information about that. For a lot of you don't realize that Robert Kennedy, or what was also known as Bobby Kennedy, more affectionately known, was the brother of President John F. Kennedy, who had been assassinated, and Bobby Kennedy was going to run for president and he was assassinated by a fellow by the name of Sirhan. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be coming back in about 3.5 or 4 minutes or so. I'm Mr. B. Politics with Mr. B. Stick with us. We'll hope to see you soon.
My name is Steven, your Public Relations Officer at FFN Media Network. We believe that every story deserves to be heard. Every voice deserves to be amplified, and every idea deserves to shine. As a small media company, we are committed to creating a platform where content creators, visionaries, and changemakers like you can thrive. You might say to yourself, why do we need FFN Network? Well, let me tell you what we can do for you. 1. Our mission is simple: empower, elevate, and engage. We are not just another media outlet. 2. Our producers will help you build your show, add content, and put you on 15 different platforms. 3. We help you promote your show. Whether it is through captivating articles, thought-provoking videos, or inspiring podcasts, we are here to help you make a difference. What sets us apart? At FFN Media Network, we embrace hard work. Our team of talented producers and creators come from all social classes, ensuring that our content reflects a rich tapestry of experiences, cultures, and viewpoints. Join the FFN team. Join FFN Media Network and be part of a community that celebrates creativity, authenticity, and positive impact. Let us amplify your voice and share your story on FFN Network and with the world. Get to know our founder, Blaise St. Pierre, the new guy in the media industry. So if you have a great idea for a show or a business and want to place an ad on FFN Network, give us a call at 774-704-5145 or email us at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com and join the FFN Network family. Thank you. FFN Network.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back from our break today. Politics with Mr. B. And wasn't that a nice little snappy tune there? I want to reach out and thank Blaise, man, our engineer, for coming up with that nice little montage we got that comes in that does the introduction for the show. Incredible amount of work. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to have an idea for a show, contact us here. Give us an email at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com. Send something to Blaise, man. If you got an idea for a show that you want to do, come on, go ahead and do it. I'm sure he'll be very happy to talk with you. That having been said, ladies and gentlemen, 65 years ago now, a young fellow by the name of Robert F. Kennedy, who at the time I believe had been the Attorney General of the United States, had been doing some things. He was going to be running for president, ladies and gentlemen. Robert F. Kennedy was going to run for president, and he had gone through a number of quite hoops, whatever else. He was the golden boy. He was the guy. He was the brother of what had been slain President John F. Kennedy. And the people wanted him. He was likable. He had done an awful lot of things to go after the criminal underworld and so forth, and a great number of things. And he was it. He was going to be the person put up for the Democratic choice for president of the United States. And while giving a speech, a young fellow by the name of, I believe, 24 years old, fellow by the name of Sirhan walked up behind him in the most heinous and cowardly way. And, as they say, busted a cap behind him, popped him in the head, killing him. He was declared, brought to a hospital, declared dead into the early morning hours of the next day. We've got some video here for you to have a look at this. It'll be filling in all the blanks. And do we have that available for us, Mr. Blaisman? Is the video ready to put up? All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Please
This is a CBS News special report. Here is CBS News correspondent Harry Reisner.
Good evening. The body of Senator Robert Kennedy is now in the air in a jet furnished by the White House and the Air Force, heading for New York from Los Angeles. It left there a little bit before 4:30 New York time this afternoon. It will land at LaGuardia Airport in New York. The body will be brought to St. Patrick's Cathedral, arriving sometime around 9:30 New York time tonight. Tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and longer if there are lines there, it will lie in state before a Requiem Mass at 10 a.m. Saturday, then to go by train from New York to Washington, and in a motor procession from New York's Union Station to go by the Senate Office Building and by the Justice Department, where Robert Kennedy served as Attorney General, before burial at about 5:30 Saturday afternoon in the same plot where President John Kennedy lies. Already there are people gathering by St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, waiting for the arrival of the casket tonight. There is CBS News correspondent Charles Kuralt.
St. Patrick's has been the scene of the funeral of a great many public figures, and on Saturday it's to be the scene of the High Requiem Mass for Senator Kennedy. The motor procession that is to bring the body of Senator Kennedy here isn't expected for another 2 hours, but already there must be 1,000 or 2,000 people gathered on Fifth Avenue in front of stores which have the picture of Senator Kennedy in them. His body will arrive here in about 2 hours and will be met by Terrence Cook, the new Archbishop of New York. And then tomorrow, all these people who are waiting here to pay their last respects to Senator Kennedy in the state from which he was elected to the Senate will have a chance to view his body. The body of the senator will lie in state at St. Patrick's all day tomorrow before the High Requiem Mass on Saturday morning. Charles Kuralt, CBS News at St. Patrick's Cathedral on Fifth Avenue, New York.
He will be there when the plane lands at LaGuardia and proceeds into St. Patrick's Cathedral tonight. In the meantime, we would like at this time to present a report on the life and career of Senator Robert Kennedy with CBS News correspondent Walter Cronkite.
These last few weeks, Robert Francis Kennedy was enjoying himself. There was a good fight to fight, and he was a fighter. Ideals were at stake, and he was an idealist. And for a man whose demeanor always seemed to suggest a boyish kind of shyness, he really enjoyed getting out among the people. He enjoyed the physical contact. He refused police protection because he said that all the people wanted to do was to touch him, not to hurt him. He made a point of that. He knew that the people didn't want to hurt him. And he plunged into areas that even local mayors steer clear of, and he was manhandled. Something seemed to grow in the shy third brother of a dynamic family in these weeks of primary campaigning. The younger brother who had stayed behind the scenes and come into his own, especially in the wild final week in California.
Tuesday night was a particularly joyous night. Robert Francis Kennedy was 42 years old and had just won the victory of his political life in the California presidential primary. He spoke to his supporters, heard their cheers, and invited them to Chicago. Senator Kennedy was a very happy man as he made his way out of the crowd into the hotel kitchen, into the range of a young, swarthy assailant. The senator was hit by 2 bullets. 5 other persons were also wounded as bullets sprayed the kitchen. Only the senator was critically hurt. Police later identified the alleged assailant as 24-year-old Siran Siran, a native Jordanian who came to this country 11 years ago. Siran's brother Adele is said to have given the name to police. Fingerprint.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard that. A Jordanian fellow from the Middle East. Even back in 1968, we had people who were operatives doing things here against Americans. We have another video to come up with, if Mr. Blazeman has that available. It'll be fill in a little bit more of the thing, and then we're going to discuss what's going on with it and what can be done, perhaps, to protect the life of RFK Jr. Do we have that other video available, Mr. Blaisman? I hope we do. Well, while he's working on that, Robert, as I mentioned before, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., son of Bobby Kennedy, is running for president, and he is not able to secure Secret Service protection. The Biden administration, for some reason, unbeknownst to myself or a great many people, continues to refuse the protections. But have a look at this video and see what happened, and now I'm sure you'll understand the necessity, the need.
The Ambassador Hotel, Los Angeles, on June 5th, 1968, headquarters for the Robert Kennedy for President campaign. Victorious in the crucial California primary, Kennedy addresses an enthusiastic crowd in one of the hotel's ballrooms.
My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there.
As he turned and went by me, he turned to the right toward the kitchen.
When he did come through, lots of television cameras and stuff, and we were going into a press conference.
He was shaking hands with the two busboys, talking with them, and it was at that time that the shots started.
Major D reported that Senator Kennedy had been shot.
He's been shot?
That's right.
I just heard this crackling noise and was shaking violently, and I thought I was being electrocuted. That was my impression.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible? Is that possible?
I saw him laying on the ground. I knew that he wasn't going to live.
Everybody else, just please stay back. Just a doctor, come right here.
25 and a half hours after he is shot, at 1:44 a.m. on June 6, Robert Kennedy dies. Immediately following the shooting, there is little doubt in anyone's mind that 24-year-old Sirhan B. Sirhan, using an 8-shot, .22 caliber revolver, was the one who killed Kennedy and wounded 5 others. There were 77 people in the pantry that night, witnesses. He was tried, convicted, and sentenced to death. An open and shut case. Or was it? Greg Stone has spent over a decade looking into the Kennedy assassination. He is one of a number calling for a reinvestigation of the case. A call based on seeming inconsistencies in the physical evidence and on a belief that the original investigation is flawed. A belief that is remarkably shared by former LAPD Sergeant Paul Sharaga, the first police officer on the scene the night of the shooting. When asked if he thinks there has been a cover-up inside the LAPD,
I would have to come to that conclusion.
If there is a cover-up, the question is why? To hide a conspiracy or to conceal slipshod police work? Who really shot Bobby? A much simpler question 20 years ago.
And I don't think we have to accept the idea that the stain of bloodshed is going to be ever across our country.
How can this 10-year-old turn any boring images into professional design with just one word?
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby Kennedy killed, and now, well, still in the back of the mind of a number of people, that there is some sort of a cover-up conspiracy having to do with him having been killed. What are your thoughts? Do you think that that there was something more to the Kennedy murder? And on top of all of that, seeing what has happened, doesn't it make sense, just good, pure sense? Doesn't it make just good, pure sense that the fellow, his son, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., should be protected with Secret Service agents while running for presidency? Does the man have a snowball's chance in hell in making it? Most likely not. But he has surmounted all of the issues that are required. He has made all of the requirements. He is by all means entitled to and should be given Secret Service protections, especially now, especially in this environment. especially in this point of such upheaval with Islamist, terrorist, extremist actions and activity that's going on. This man should be, by all means, protected, but he is not. Think about this. This fellow is running for the office of presidency against Joseph Biden. Former President Donald Trump is running for the presidency against Joe Biden. Look at what's being done here. Look at what is being done and what is happening. Can any person in their right mind look at this situation and say, no, there's nothing wrong here, nothing's happening? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. deserves to have protection. Unfortunately, his brother wasn't protected. And look what happened. And all he had done, he had just won the primary in California. That's all. Robert F. Kennedy, dead 56 years ago. And now we have this situation. In a world where there is so much problem, so much anti-American hatred that is being spewed all over from so many directions, not to mention an open border where people from all over the world have been pouring over, coming in unabated, and just being told, here's a court date, come, make sure you're here for a court date that's posted 2 or 3 years from now. In the meantime, you're free to go ahead and walk about anywhere, wherever you want in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, our national security is verkackt. It's in the shit. We have a border that has been letting people in from all over the place. And look, don't believe me. Don't believe me. Look at the news itself of all the times they keep finding these people that are killing people, robbing, stealing, causing mayhem, beating people up. And all of them are these dreamers or migrants or whatever else they want to take and paint over the fact that these people are illegal aliens. We have all of these illegal aliens crawling all over the place, many of which are not nice people, many of which are inarguably they're members of gangs or groups of people that do drugs and organized crime and mayhem in other countries, and they're doing the crap here. People that are coming here from China, from Africa, from South America, from Europe, all coming up, just coming across the Rio Grande, walking in, and here you go. And how many of them are being put up at the cost of the taxpayers' expense in hotels, being given goods and services and entitlements or whatever else to people who have never done anything to put into the coffers here in the United States, and likely probably won't. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a problem here. We got a very, very big problem. And now we have our sleepy president who's over in Paris, France, or wherever in France, getting ready to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the D-Day Normandy invasion on June the 6th. Well, isn't that nice? Isn't that special? I would think rather that it would behoove the man to start paying attention to things that are going on here and quit farting around, going around the world.
Hey, caller, you're on the air with Poli-Ticking with Mr. B. How may we help you?
We have a call? Didn't hear a ring. Hello, caller.
Yeah, try back, caller. I don't know. They're not answering me, B. What do you want me to do, bro?
I don't know. Maybe they don't like the way you answered the phone. I don't know. But yeah, please come on, call back 508-974-4231. Love to hear what you have to say about this situation. Sleepy Joe Biden's all the way over in Paris. We are dead men walking. Our country is screwed. Well, truth is truth. Truth is truth. That's all that I can say. Well, I don't know if the caller we had is going to be calling back. All right. I think I put enough people to sleep for the rest of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a show coming up from the I-12 GIA people.
B, you got a caller.
You got a caller?
Sounds like I hear two people.
Good afternoon.
Caller.
Yes, how are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. What can we do for you? I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I just got to say, like, the whole presentation of the show, you've got, like, the city in the background. You're trying to look professional. Is that supposed to be a green screen or a flag? Because, like, the overalls mixed with the imagery of the background, just, it's not working. It kind of looks slobby.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Thanks for the call.
I appreciate the input. Thank you very, very much.
You look disgusting.
You're a fucking meatball. Goodbye. Go ahead, B.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We got the I-12 GIA group.
They're like fucking children, B. You know, they're like 12 years old. Oh, let's play a prank call. You know?
Some people have very little in their lives that brings them joy. So, you know,
anyhow,
I'm going to go ahead and do something of that nature. You know, they don't like my background or whatever else. That's, you know, what are you going to do?
Either way, B. You got 9 minutes, Bo.
Yeah. Yep. We got the I-12 GIA group coming up. They've got an incredible show coming up. Always, if there's anybody who can tell you how to keep a lid on things in your life, keep yourself safe, and to watch and to be ready to self-defend yourself, it's these people. They know what they're talking about. You know, frankly, I don't know all of the story, and I don't think any of us ever will know the entire story behind the RFK assassination, any more than we're going to know the entire story behind the JFK assassination. But in the purest sense, at this point on how many years we are behind it now, does it really make a difference? We have other things that fish that we have to fry to keep ourselves a nation at this point. We have an awful lot of disdain that is here in the United States. We have an awful lot of wounds. I have a serious amount of doubt at this point as to whether or not we will ever truly be able to heal and stand as one unified nation ever again. A great deal of work needs to be done. A great deal of attention needs to be paid. And some people will say that I'm crazy. The person that I truly believe in my heart of hearts that can do the best of getting us back on track is former President Donald Trump. Now, as far as whom he might be choosing for a running mate, I don't know. I've had my ideas. I've had my thoughts. For the longest time, and I still believe in the back of my mind, it's there. He's gonna tap Ron DeSantis. I really believe he's gonna do it. I could be wrong. There are some people who have opined that he may go out, reach out towards Tulsi Gabbard. It might be a choice. There are some people who believe that he's going to go for some wild card that people just haven't known or come out about. But whatever it is, that all remains to be seen. My money, again, is on Ron DeSantis. All this having been said, I've had a nice evening speaking with you, talking with you about these things that we've been going on. If you like this, share it, tell your friends. Please encourage them to come out. And again, if you have an idea, and maybe you want to give your own podcast a try, reach out at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com. Send a message to Mr. Blazeman, and I'm sure he'll be able to discuss it with you and maybe go ahead and launch you into your own success. I'm Mr. B. Thank you very much for watching. Stick around. I-12 GIA group coming up. We'll see you all again next week. Have a good night.